You are listening to the Lucha Central Podcast Network. And now, luchacentral.com presents Straight Out of the Bodega with King Fat Boy Papo Esco.
From the wrestling world to the podcast world, it's Straight Out of the Bodega with your host,
the King Fat Boy Papo Esco. Yo, you have arrived. Pulled up. Welcome to another edition of Straight Out of the Bodega. I'm your master of ceremonies, the Lucha Thug, the one-man Lucha Gang, El Rey Gordo, the King Fat Boy Papo Esco. And as always, we're gonna take you on a ride. We're gonna bob and weave through the blocks, back alleys, and street corners of the Bodega, where we're gonna give you everything you need that's pro wrestling and entertainment. Look, I'm ready. I know you're ready. So have a seat, pour up your favorite drink, and let's ride. Now look, I'm gonna stop the music real quick because I got something to say. What I'm about to say is fully supported and backed by all of us here at Straight Out of the Bodega and Lucha Central, but I don't speak for them right now. Everything that I'm about to say is 100% me. So I don't want to misconstrue anything or put any words in anybody's mouth. Because for me, I'm hurt. I'm angry. I'm devastated. And like everybody else who's been out there all across the nation protesting, I want change. 8 minutes and 46 seconds. 8 minutes and 46 seconds of horror, of terror. On May 25th, a Minneapolis police officer put his knees on the back and neck of 46-year-old George Floyd. And he was killed. He didn't die. He was murdered. And over what? A suspected counterfeit $20 bill. I don't know what to say. This has got to stop. The senseless police negligence and brutality has got to stop. And for the last several days, everybody that is devastated by this has been protesting all across the nation. And the message is clear. We need change. We need to be heard. We are tired of saying rest in peace to George Floyd, to Breonna Taylor, to Ahmaud Arbery, to Tamir Rice, Trayvon Martin, Oscar Grant, Philando Castile, Eric Gardner. I can name so many other names, but it probably would take up the entire hour and a half of this episode. I'm stumbling over my words because I'm emotional, but we need to be heard. Now is the time. Now is the time for these protests to mean something. And I'm not talking about all the looters and rioters that are taking advantage of something that good people are trying to do for change. I'm talking about the people that are peacefully protesting out there and saying we've had enough. Black Lives Matter. I want to say that again. Black Lives Matter. My son is a black man. My daughter is a black woman. And I don't want them to be next. And for some of you, you might think I'm overreacting, but for those mothers and fathers that are like me, that have to send our kids out into the world, knowing that they could be killed by the people who are supposed to protect and serve, they know what I'm talking about. And we need change. I'm not good when it comes to this type of conversation. So all I'm going to do is close it out with, I feel for the families. Rest in peace. And my condolences in my heart pours out and mourns for everybody, including George Floyd. Your murder will not go in vain. That's it. We're going to have a great show for you today. we got All Pro Wrestling, APW, owner and operator Markus coming to sit down with us on the show. And also we got co-host Gabriel Ramirez, who's going to sit on the other end of the table. And we're going to talk shop, man. We're going to talk everything about the COVID pandemic. We're going to talk early APW and Roland Alexander. We're going to talk about the rise of Pro Wrestling Revolution and the rebirth of APW under the Markus regime. So many stories, so much good information. I can't wait for you guys to hear it. Let's get this started. But before we do, we're going to go to the always amazing Denise Salcedo and Lucha Central.
Hey everyone, it's Denise Salcedo here in Lucha Central with a look at all of the great shows available this week on the Lucha Central Podcast Network, where you can always find each show on its own or subscribe to the Lucha Central Podcast Network show for every show in one easy feed. Our Monday lineup will start its rotation over this coming Monday, June 8th, as Lucha Libre Figures and Facts brings you a brand new episode. In the meantime, if you missed any of the debut episodes of our monthly series, Lucha Libre Figures and Facts, The Masked Cast, and The Business of the Business, check them out this week. And before you get into this week's brand new episode of Mass, Mats, and Mayhem this Tuesday, do not miss last week's amazing interview with Lucha Underground executive producer and Al Rey Network Chief Creative Officer, Skip Chasen, the man directly responsible for the groundbreaking series Look. And this Tuesday, join the show for part 2 with Skip. Thursday on Straight Out of the Bodega, Papo Esco and Gabriel Ramirez are joined by Markus promoter of All Pro Wrestling, as they talk about the early days and legacy of Roland Alexander's APW, the eventual takeover by Markus after Roland's death, and much more. Also Thursday, and in Espanol, La Mesa de los Márgaros returns to bring the show's unique mix of Lucha Libre news, opinions, and comedy to the Lucha Central Podcast Network lineup. This week, pulling up a seat at the table will be luchador Crazy Boy and leading Lucha Libre journalist Apollo Valdez. On Friday, the Lucha Central Podcast Network brings you Lucha Central Weekly and Lucha Central Weekly en Español. Get all the latest updates from Mexico as AAA and CMLL prepare to return to action, and the most newsworthy notes on luchadores across the globe, including a look at the Rey Mysterio retirement angle from WWE's Monday Night Raw, and the NXT Cruiserweight Title Tournament Finals. Will former CMLL, AAA, and Lucha Underground star Hijo del Fantasma capture his first WWE gold? Be sure to subscribe and follow all your favorite Lucha Central Network series on your favorite podcast platforms. And please be sure to give a rating and review to help more fans find the shows that you love. For now, this is Denise Salcedo signing off from Lucha Central. Have a great week.
Lucha-Masks.com by Pro Wrestling Revolution, bringing you, in partnership with Masked Republic, the Lucha Brothers, as well as Japanese legend Ultimo Dragon. Go to Lucha-Masks.com and fight Lucha Strong with masks from your favorite Lucha legends and Pro Wrestling Revolution luchadores. Stay safe in style and represent your favorite luchador. Get yours now at Lucha-Masks.com, powered by Pro Wrestling Revolution.
You know, it's not every day that heads of individual tables come together for one round table sit down to discuss anything, let alone business. So I'm pretty honored and I'm excited that I not only have my co-host, owner and operator of Pro Wrestling Revolution, owner and operator of Pro Wrestling Revolution Training Academy, Gabriel Ramirez here, but we also have come into the show, owner and operator of All Pro Wrestling, Markus Smack. Welcome to Straight Out of the Bodega.
What up? What's popping?
Well, you know why we're here. We talked about it. This is going to be a round table. We're going to discuss everything from current events to wrestling to how that relates to money and shows and what have you. I mean, I don't think anything is off limits. So let's get right into it, all right? So the first question is, what do you guys think the post-corona indie scene is going to be looking like locally and beyond after this thing is all said and done?
Oh, this is gonna be an ugly one. I don't know, man. We just, I don't think anybody really knows what to expect. We don't know what the fuck is happening day by day out here, man. I'm hoping that, we all get back to filling houses and putting, joy into people's lives and everything. But I mean, for the immediate future, I think we're all at a standstill. When it does come back, I would imagine we're not going to be in the position where we can fit 1,000 people in the house or 700. We're not going to be permitted those types of activities, man. I think that it's going to be, pockets of people who come together, and a lot of distance between what's happening. I don't know. What do you guys think?
For me, I have a much different view. I mean, it's without even considering what's going on with indie wrestling, we have to consider what's going on in front of us. And so we're so divided I think we're so divided as a country. It's like, well, I listen to the president. Oh, he's not mine. I listen to my governor, and I'll open my state when I want to open. So before we even consider anything wrestling related, I don't think there's going to be any shows even being discussed for the rest of this year. I think shows are dead. If they're talking about barely easing back into the world and you're going into a restaurant and you can't have no more than one person per table or 6 feet apart, our world is not set up for that. So you're going to have one person per table. They have to get in and get out. They can't have that many tables before. You got to have a mask on. I mean, all these things are applying. That does not apply to our world of entertainment. It's not going to happen.
We're going to have to take temperature and shit at the gate.
It's just not going to happen. So let's say, okay, cool. Let's just go ahead and no shows being done this year. Now, keep in mind, okay, let's say we can do shows, and let's say we can sit one fan 3 chairs apart from other fan. Why are we doing it? Like, it'd be idiotic. I would not spend an ounce of energy on trying to put on a show for people who are 3 feet apart. And before people start saying, "Oh, what an asshole! He doesn't care about the fans." Bullshit. It's not that I don't care about the fans. It's that what you really want to have? It's like fucking watching porno as a fucking kid and the shit's all scrambled. What the fuck? Like, who cares if you can watch porno wide scrambled? Don't you want the shit to see correct and being done right?
Oh, now, shit. As somebody who was 13 years old watching Channel 99, that motherfucking porno scrambled was pretty goddamn good at times. I'll take some scrambled porn right now, man.
Fuck, it's like fucking. I used to think Benny Hill was porno. Holy shit! Look at those chicks, I thought that shit was porno. But for me, it's like, okay, let's before we consider wrestling as a whole, why don't we let the country fucking fix itself first? Why don't we figure out how we can all get back to work? Because even if we can, let's just say wave a magic wand, boom, on this date we all go back to normal. There's still 6 million motherfuckers without work.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what? We're going to fucking do a show now? Our boom that we had is dead. It's over. Zero. We're starting from scratch. And in order for us to provide those, speaking for me, in order for me to give you the show that I had in February, the only way I can do that if these guys fucking work for fucking peanuts. Because there's no way in hell, And again, and speaking for me, that I deal with tons of fucking international fly-ins every show. I don't even know how these flights are going to work. Are they going to be allowed? Are they going to allow to go Mexico to here? Can I bring fucking Sasuke from Japan to here? Can I? I don't know. There's the world has completely changed. It's something that we have no control over. So as far as wrestling goes, shit, I think the closest thing to wrestling is doing this podcast that we're doing now. There's, and if anyone tries to find a loophole like these empty warehouse shows or because the fans want it, I think it's just egotistical and trying to be cool and trying to see like, oh, we're like WWE. Shut the fuck up. You're not like WWE. No matter how many fucking cool flyers you put up, in the end, it's for the sake of our families. I mean, would any of you here fucking risk your family to put on a show for fucking 10 people?
I just see it as irresponsible. That's the way
Absolutely.
I look at it. It's just irresponsible. Fuck trying to be anything else but being responsible right now. And that's real talk.
Yep.
You know, basically in a nut, these smaller companies are going to fuck it up for other people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but see, and for me, it's like when I did shows in Oklahoma and Arkansas and shit, I had to deal with the commission, and I had to fucking get all these paperwork and blood work, all these things done, and that's the only way you can, control things. Now, am I saying is a commission needed here? Well, I think yes. And the reason I say yes is when you have a commission and you have to fucking, go by the book and make you responsible to put on shows, then we eliminate these fucking wannabes. And that eliminates fucking it up for everybody else. Because I can guarantee you half the fuckers here that run don't have insurance.
Oh, yeah.
Guarantee you, they don't even fucking bother. That's going to happen. That's going to happen. Well, what the fuck? And then when it does, then what happens? Because in the end, these motherfuckers who try to rent facilities, I can rent the same venue that fucking promoter Z and X did on a different date. They don't know, no matter how big and great I fucking think I am, all they know is wrestling or lucha, whatever, right? I call fucking facility A and they go, "Oh, you that wrestling thing? Nah, no. Fuck that. We had that thing here before and you guys burned down the building." No, that wasn't me. We don't give a shit. Hang up.
Exactly. I can tell that we've already been through that, man, because when Roland died, you know what I'm saying? And I took the reins and took over the made APW legit and took it over. God, man, it was so difficult to find any place. People think that it's just all good, man, to go and run a show. Maybe it's easier now, but I know that, 7-8 years ago, it was impossible on this side of the bay to find a place that would let you host pro wrestling. You couldn't do it. Everybody would say, "No, we're not interested in having pro wrestling. No. We've had bad experiences."
It's because Roland didn't pay nobody. That's why he stripped them all. You couldn't fucking do the shows, man. What are we talking about? Who, APW? Oh, fuck that. He owes us $72.50.
Hey, it wasn't all Roland. A lot of these fucking charity shows and a lot of these fucking people have gone fucked it up over and over. Year after year.
You mean the charity shows that don't have a legitimate charity, a legitimate fucking 501c, the ones who fucking pay you in drugs and fucking pills and shit? Fuck, and that's exactly what's fucking wrong. You got these fucking weirdos who fucking picked up a fucking Facebook or a camera and just because they know the guy's name, I'm a promoter. Shut the fuck up. But you know what? As much as at fault as these goofballs promoters are so the fucking wrestlers who are fucking whores who are going to go work for them regardless. It's the exposure. We got to work as much as we can. Oh my fucking God. Like working in a fucking, in a church in front of 16 people. What exactly did you learn? Like, what did you fucking learn? Like nothing. And the only difference between back then when I was with Roland and there was only APW and BTW for that matter, we had rules, we had a home, we had guidelines, we had things that we had to respect and abide by because that was the only place that we were doing stuff for, and we all controlled it as far as Roland, what rules we had and what we do. Man, once Roland started letting go of the reins and PWI started and shit broke apart, everyone said, fuck it. Mom and dad are gone. Let's throw a fucking house party. And in that house party, people broke up and go, let's throw a backyard party. Everyone became promoters. Everyone became fucking owners. Here comes social media. Oh, fuck, MySpace. Oh, my company. Oh, fuck. And that's why we're going to run the problems we are now, that everyone with a TV show on YouTube, everyone has a TV show on Facebook Live, everyone who has quote unquote TV online, they all think they're fucking major league. And in the end, they fuck it up for everybody else who, speaking for myself, have to pay taxes. I have a fucking LLC. I had to do all these fucking insurances. That is what I have to fucking worry about, not necessarily, wondering if I can, pay for someone to do my flyer and put up on Facebook.
It's real talk right there.
Yeah, definitely real talk. I mean, speaking of, APW, because I know we've, been on a APW and Roland tangent. Mark, you mentioned that, you took it over. I'm not sure you gave us your perspective really on how it's going to affect your business per se. I know Gabe thorough explanation of how it's going to impact his, but why don't you go ahead and give us a quick overview of how you think it's going to, affect you and what you plan on doing when we all can come back to this.
For right now, we it's just I'm with Gabe on I think that we're going to just have to wait this thing out, and I don't see shit coming back probably till, at the very earliest, at the end of 19, if, or at the end of 2020, if we're lucky, and at that point, I do believe it's going to be limited, we're going to see limits, increase. We're going to see, okay, you can have groups of 50, and that's going to include the boys. So, and stagehands and production and people that run the facility, you know what I'm saying? So it's going to be tough, man. I don't think that, I know it's fucking hurting me really bad right now.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people that are being hurt, that are in real dire trouble, I've grinded with this shit for a long time, and I know what it's like to fucking grind, to be hungry and pay dues, so if I got to do that for a minute, you know what I'm saying, to get back to, somewhat normality, then you know what, fuck it, nose to the fucking pavement. Let's just ride this out. Let's see what happens. I'd like to see it come back to be what it was, but I don't think that's going to happen in any time for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, I hear that, man. I hear that. Hey, continuing on the APW train, Gabriel Ramirez, why did you leave APW?
Man, it's rough because a lot of things played into it, man. And Roland was never easy to get along with, even if it was your friend or your foe. Because I still think that fucker to this day was bipolar. Because one morning he'd be like, "Hey, brother, let's go watch the Warriors," and then the next morning he'd call you and go, "Did you do this, you stupid motherfucker?" He'd go off on you for like 10 minutes. So it was just rough. But what really caused it was it got to a point where Roland had really pretty much given up on APW. He had given up on wrestling. He didn't care for it no more. The passion he had for it was gone. And it was evident in the fact that he was no longer a Jim Morris. There was times, guys, that, a lot of you don't know that. And there was times where when Daniel Bryan or American Dragon, what the fuck you want to call him, when he was there and Roland wouldn't show up to Jim Morris, he'd send me a text, or on Nextel, he'd go, "Hey, I got Warrior tickets and I'm going to go watch the game. You guys can run the show." And I was like, "Huh?" Like, what the fuck? Why would you do that? I mean? He didn't care. Or then he'd try to pawn it off on me and Jason, like, "Oh, you know what? It's a good learning opportunity." And at first we're like, "Okay, cool, fuck it, let's learn." Later I found out he didn't want to come because he didn't want to get served by lawyers. Okay, cool. So that got dumped on us. We had to deal with people trying to serve, looking for Roland and weird people trying to serve us while he was gone at the Warriors games. So, okay, little by little, he started carrying less and less. But then when Jason and I said, "Well, fuck it, he doesn't care, what can we do?" "Well, okay, you guys can do whatever you guys want," per se. Then, we started doing some cool things, and Jason was always, cool on the internet part with Black Pants, and he started getting production, and Shan and I started, buying stuff for the gym, like the black drapes and, the logo on the canvas. And we started, we got the opportunity, to play promoter per se, right? So we started doing it, and little by little, we started, using contacts, and, there was at times, through the boot camp, not the boot camp, but Jim Wars, guy, man, I fucking booked, Machine Gun, Carl Anderson, Fergal Devitt, Rocky Romero, fucking Chad Wicks, who ended up being Chad Dix, Puma. I mean, guys from Australia. We're booking shitload of fucking talent from Japan. Tons of things that were going on, and nobody was paying for it but myself out of pocket. Now, Jason might have paid for the female stuff, but he didn't pay for the guy stuff. And, that's just the honest to God fucking truth. Now, sometimes he did chip in and sometimes he just didn't, All he wanted was female footage for Click Russell. So I was footing the bill on this stuff. Well, when I was footing the bill on these things and we had, huge houses of 150, you know what I mean? But out of those houses, he was signing up 2-3 students every time, and they were giving him 2-3 G's a pop, right? And I'm like, okay, cool. That keeps the academy, the boot camp open or whatever. But there was times where, we were short on money, whatever. Say, hey, Roland, can you kick in? He'd fucking flip out on you. I'm like, well, how can you get so pissed off, dude? It's like, we're the ones that are helping you bring that fucking money in. I'm not saying you're the only one. I'm not saying that it's not your facility and so on, but you're not bringing that money by yourself. And, then that dragged on. Then Jason and I always had problems because he wanted to book a certain way. And it was just constant fucking fighting, man. It was constant fighting because Roland would always try to fucking hustle. He always wanted to fucking be, he'd take Jason's side behind my back. He'd take my side behind Jason's back. He'd play both sides of the fence because he wanted to have harmony. But in the end, all Roland really wanted was for me to stay, keep doing the shows, for Jason to stay, keep doing the footage online, and him just, pretty much people come in, he signs them up, and he makes the money. Well, while I was working a fucking full-time job, 9 to 5, coming home and still doing APW, and he just would wake up at noon and work on APW and go to the Warriors games. And that's the fucking honest to God truth. I'm not talking shit. I'm just being honest to God with what I dealt with from 1996 till 2008. Now, obviously, his passion was stronger, but up until 2001, when King of Indies happened, and he didn't give a fuck no more. He said he told me fucking Jason in phone calls, emails, and in person. He didn't care no more. He didn't care about wrestling. He didn't care about shit. The PWI thing fucked him up, and he really didn't get any passion back. The only time I saw any passion in him was when, as a rib, we said, "Hey, why don't we make Roland the manager of Kafu?" Then he started having fun because he got to be part of the shows and he was fucking off and doing promos and he had a blast. But little by little, as he started traveling, doing shows as Kafu's manager, I remember we did a show in Bakersfield and I forgot who we brought in. And we had a crowd of 700 at the Dome, which I still think is like the hardest accomplishment to ever do, is to draw on that piece of shit fucking town and venue.
I think it was Jim the Anvil Neidhart.
It might have been, bro. It might have been him or some rather combo, because Billy Blade always wanted to bring in someone for him to wrestle himself. And I forgot who it was, but it was a great fucking draw, man. It was a really good draw. It was 700 people. Don't remember who it was. And Roland signed up 4 fucking guys from Bakersfield at $2,500 a pop, paid in cash at the venue. Do the numbers, man. That's 10 fucking G's. And I asked Roland, brother, we need a couple of bucks to, do a couple of cables. I need a couple of bucks to do this. And he fucking flipped out on me. Flipped out and said, how fucking dare I? He's the one that's on the phones with them. And I was like, hey, bro, like, when are you going to start trying to work me, man? It's like, you just fucking signed up 4 kids who live in Bakersfield who only did 1 class and they dropped out. And you took 10 fucking G's. And he started talking shit more and more. He got getting more upset. Well, what really fucking caused it is after I had sent talent to Portugal, I did a tour. Well, I didn't go. Instead of me going, I decided to have another wrestler go. It wasn't about me being in the spotlight. It was about the guys going. So I forgot who I sent. I know Oliver John, Kafu.
I think it was MPT
and Dana, I think, and then I think I sent Billy Blade as well. I think because there was 2 tours, but I think Billy was on the first one, and they went, and it was pretty badass. It was fucking great. They had a fucking blast, man. It was guy, you fucking sent the guys to Portugal, but Roland was upset that I didn't send him. He wanted me to send him to Portugal as an interpreter. I was like, Roland, why the fuck would they fly you in to be interpreter? But Dilip had an interpreter. I was like, dude, come on, dude. I'm not gonna fucking, we're a small fucking hole in Hayward, dude. Like, relax. Don't drink your own fucking Kool-Aid. Like, hold on. And he was pissed about that. So the guys came back from Portugal, and like a few months later, they wanted to do it again. And I had told the guys, hey, in the big, like we used to have the standard APW powwow. I told everyone when they left, if you guys kick ass and the second tour happens, because you kick ass, I'll send you guys second time around again. And lo and behold, there was another tour, and they added more people. So I told the ones, hey guys, the ones who kicked ass, which was like Oliver and Cafu and whatever, you guys are all going to go again. And Roland didn't want that. Roland was like, no. APW's mine, and you're going to we're going to make everyone earn it and work hard. And, whoever has all their gym dues paid and the boot camp, I'm like, wait, what the fuck does that got to do with this tour? And he's like, no, it's my tour. It's APW's my name. I was like, what the fuck? Like, what are you talking about? And he was, so we let it go. And then I was driving home and this is like towards the end, and keep in mind through all this, we're still having gym wars, and we're going to Bakersfield, for the shows that Billy was doing in Bakersfield, at Eric Nolan's gym. And then, every so often at the Dome. And he would consistently be like, bashing. And again, it's not every second, because Roland did have a huge fucking heart. He was such a fucking generous person when he wanted to be. He taught me everything, but towards the end, he didn't see me as someone he was teaching and mentoring. He was seeing me as someone who was trying to take APW from him, which I never wanted to take from him. All I wanted to do was grow it with him, but Roland didn't want to grow. Roland just wanted to make money off the boot camp, but he didn't give a shit about shows. But he didn't care about shows, but he cared enough to take the money that would be brought in from students who were at those shows. And he never saw that they were a crossover. For him, it was like, no, they just want to come to the boot camp because we created Crash Holly. Okay. And did the guys from Bakersfield drive to fucking Hayward to sign up, or did they go to a show in Bakersfield and give you 10 G's? And he never accepted that. So I was dropping off my daughter at school, and I was heading back, and he called me. And he says, I got to talk to you. He's like, you're being a real fucking mark, believing these fucking guys. They hustled you. They didn't work their asses off. I talked to Dana, and Dana told me they were fucking off, and this guy was drunk. And I was like, dude, I don't care what they did when the show was down. They want another tour. And I promised them that they busted their ass, and whatever happened, they want another show. Why can't I send him back? Well, it has to be on these terms. He was like trying to take over, and I kept asking him, why? Is it because you want to go to Portugal? I don't get it. Why are you making this so difficult when it can be something so cool that we keep saying APW is having another tour? I don't get it, right? And so we let it go. That same night, that very same day when I got home, my uncle passed away. And this uncle was the one that I'd go spend my time in TJ with him because I love watching lucha. And so my uncle was the chief of police in Tijuana. And as the chief of police in Tijuana, one of his officers was Rey Mysterio Sr. So being that Rey Mysterio Sr. was his friend, and I used to be able to go to the auditorium in TJ and go watch fucking wrestling and meet these motherfuckers. And so for me, it's like I always had this bond with my uncle that and that we were, that I was doing wrestling and stuff, but I was never doing lucha, but I've always had that bond with him with the time I spent watching lucha and TJ. Well, I was outside, and I had bought a flight for my mom and her sisters to go to TJ because he had just died, and my aunt was, freaking the fuck out. Her husband just died. And so she's on flight and so on, and they get there, and I'm outside, and my phone rings, and it's my mom, and I'm talking to my mom, I'm talking to my aunt and my cousins, and, you're crying and so on. And the phone clicked, and it was Roland. And so I just sent him the voicemail and kept talking to my mom, because my uncle just died. Literally fucking, after I sent him the voicemail, I said I had a voicemail. So I was done with my mom. I listened to the voicemail before I called Roland back. And it was Roland telling me, hey, are you fucking, is your asshole still fucking sore from me reaming you a fucking new asshole, you fucking mark? How come you don't fucking answer your phone and send me a voicemail? I'm trying to fucking make you some money. And I was like, whoa, making me some money. So I call him back, and the money that he was trying to make me was a copy of King of Indies for one VHS. A whopping $20 was the money he was trying to make me. And I was like, fuck that. You know what I mean? This is the guy who pocketed 10 G's, but he's trying to make me $20 and I have to go copy a VHS. The respect was gone. The hustle was in full fucking mode. And it was the same Roland who was a fucking bookie in the fucking back in the days. And no way, there's no way I was going to do that no more. My daughter was just born. I said, fuck, I'm doing all this shit for Roland to not go to work, for Roland to fucking have season tickets to the Warriors game while I have to fucking live check to check as I help him bring money. I'm not the fucking savior APW by any fucking means necessary at all. Jason killed his ass. The workers everyone busted their ass. But fuck, he was the only one making a living from this bitch, and he was doing the least amount of work. And for him to mock me for not answering the phone, for him to bash me for wanting to do more things, it got to a point where, you know what? Fuck that. There's no way in hell I'm going to try to teach my kids to follow their dreams, to do what they want. And here I am fucking working for a guy who doesn't even fucking respect me anymore at all. And I sat on it for a while. I sat on it. And we were, and it's funny that Markus is on here. It was funny because it was towards the end. I had talked to Robert Thompson. I had talked obviously to my wife, and I told him, hey, I think I'm going to leave APW. I can't take this no more. Constantly fighting with Jason. Now Roland's fucking talking shit the whole time. It's no longer fun. I can't do this no more. And I remember I was going to tell Roland I was going to leave. And it was the same night that Markus had come to Gym Wars. And Roland goes, hey guys, I have Markus up here because I want Roland, because I want him to start being a ring announcer or a manager. You remember that, Markus?
Yeah.
And I was like, what? Like, no, not now. I was like, fuck, I didn't want to talk about anything but me talking to Roland. And then before, and I might have came off with a complete fucking dick, which I don't doubt, but it wasn't about Markus or anything. I just wanted to talk to Roland. I'm like, no. And Roland just gets up in Roland mode. Oh, he's going to fucking do it because I like him and it's my company. And he loved the fact that he always wanted to say it was his company. He always wanted to remind me and Jason that it was his company, right? But yet, we were the ones doing majority of the work. And that moment set me off. So you know what? Fuck it. I'm not going to continue with this. When Markus left, I stayed up there with Jason and Roland, and I told him I was leaving. And he thought I was full of shit. I said, no, I'm leaving. And I said, this is the reason why I'm leaving. He goes, no, you're just upset. I said, no, I'm leaving. And I told him I don't want to leave like Donovan did and Mike did by stealing shit or I don't even know what I know they Donovan took a belt and then he had to fucking do something before Dom gave him the belt back. I think it was the internet belt. He had to give it to him before something else happened. I didn't want to, I wasn't going to take anything. I wasn't looking to take anything unless it belonged to me. And I told him I'm taking these things because I actually bought them. Like the tag team belts, they were mine. I left tons of other stuff. I said, all I'm going to do is just take this and that. It's mine. I don't hate you. I don't hate nobody. It's just best for me to move on, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, well, I'm not going to take that as your answer. And, at the next Gym Wars, you can give me your answer again. Think about it. Well, in those 2 weeks, he did nothing but talk shit at the same fucking time, and it got to a point where Licorice Joe's son was friends with my oldest daughter, who at then was my youngest, was young as hell and was, they would talk and text message. And she goes, hey, Dad, I forget the kid's name. He's really upset because you see you're talking shit about his dad. Well, let me see. And I saw the text. And so I called Roland. I said, Roland, why are you telling Licorice Joe that I'm talking shit about him? He goes, I never said that. I said, Roland, but I'm talking to the kid, his son right now. And he says that he was there when you told him that you were talking shit. Why are you doing that? And he goes, oh, no. It was Larry Harvey. Larry Harvey did it. And this gimmicks that he was playing, he's played that fucking game with tons of others when I was there. But now it was happening to me. So I wasn't about to fall for it. I said, no, dude. I go, Roland, go ahead. And he goes, was it Larry? He goes, yeah, it was Larry. No, don't worry about it. So, no. I just heard Larry. Larry just walked by you because Larry was living with him. I go, put him on conference or call him on his cell phone. Let's have a conference call really quick. And I want Larry to tell me what you just told me. And he don't want to do it.
Wow.
He didn't want to do it. He knew he was fucking caught. And so again, is this the guy I want to work with? Is this the guy I want to go to fucking bed with? Is this the guy I want to fucking put money in his pocket and fucking shit talk me while I can't afford to pay my bills, but I'm paying his? And I said, fuck it. That Saturday at that Jim Wars, we had that major powwow, and I told them, I'm leaving, I'm doing this, and I'm moving on. I don't hate nobody. I don't hate you. I don't hate no one, but I'm gonna start my own thing. And that's it. Wow. And I had no other aspiration besides fucking doing one show as Revolution, but I never wanted to leave. My goal was always to fucking make what I've already spent at that point from 96 till 2008 to fucking make it bigger. But how could I make it bigger that every time I walk one step forward, he was there to fucking trip me up, you know? Yeah, and Jason Dedridge was a part of it. He knows. And towards the end, when he saw that I left, because I'm gone too. You know, and we always fucking had our fight because he had his issues with Roland. He, with no insurance, every show was a risk. Fucking the lawsuits. It was nonstop, man. There was, obviously everyone knows about the Brian Ong thing. There was one death, but there was another death as well. There was another student, that drove home, fell asleep at the wheel, and died. And there was another lawsuit going on as well. And these things were happening all the fucking time. There was no insurance for us at the shows. There was no coverage for us. There was none of that. Zero. When there was that major lawsuit and Roland got sued, he got served on my behalf. I'm sorry. I got served on someone else's behalf to him, and he calls me and tells me I'm served. And I was like, what the fuck? And this is over something that he caused because he refused to give a student his money back when the guy fucking never trained. Roland pocketed $2,500 from a student who never trained. And he was harassing us. It was fucking crazy. He was showing up with fucking guns. It was a whole fucking thing. Jason Dedridge offered to pay Roland. Here, let me give you the fucking money. Because I already offered it to this guy. He doesn't want to take it. He wants you to give it to him. Roland, here's the fucking $2,500. Just give him his fucking money back so we can lead a normal life. Because this is getting very scary. Oh, no. He ain't going to do shit. What the fuck happened? The guy fucking showed up and fucking had a gun, had all kinds of shit in his car, and the cops came, and he didn't want to go do it. He didn't want to call on the phone, and like the cops were at the boot camp. The cops were fucking there saying, "Hey, Roland, I need you to call this guy to come back because we're gonna blah blah blah." He refused because he wanted to watch the rest of Gym Wars upstairs, and he asked my wife to make the call for him. So I walked up. I go, Roland, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, why won't you make the call? So he did one better. He made Dana Lee do it, and Dana Lee called, and then that guy was trying to kill Dana Lee, all because Roland wanted to always be Roland, and no one can fucking stop me, and I am who I am, and so on. It got to a point when I first broke in 96, it was a respect thing because, he did break me in, but towards the end, he didn't give a fuck no more. It was just about Roland and Roland and Roland only. And that was the dark side of him. And I couldn't deal with it no more. It was making my home unhappy. I was spending more time on APW than I was on my actual job. All I did was fucking get anxiety every time my phone rang because it was either Roland or it was either Jason. It was like, why am I doing this? Wow. You know what I mean? After Roland and I, before he passed away, he was still having lawsuits with Jason. He was suing him for footage. And my lawyer calls me to talk about something else. And he mentioned that he had just finished something with Roland. He was suing Jason. And I was like, I go, why is he suing him for? He goes, well, I really can't say, but I can only tell you this much. I go, Jason's right. He doesn't have that footage. He goes, what do you mean? I said, I have it. So then I made a deal with the lawyer that I would turn in all the footage, even though I wasn't being sued for it. But I wanted Roland to come meet me at my house, and I'll give it to him. So, because I knew, I didn't know, because all I heard was from a couple of people that he was really sick. But I left because I couldn't deal with Roland, the businessman. Now, that's why I left, because Roland as a businessman was a complete fucking backstabbing, fucking untrustworthy cocksucker. And if someone is upset, sorry. because I'm not talking about the man that I love. I'm talking about the businessman who fuck people nonstop. Now, Roland, the human being as a person, who was like my father figure, I do miss. The man we would talk about fucking sports and wrestling and comedy and movie and Motown and all that. That man I miss dearly, and I cry whenever I see his birthday, whenever I hear a song come on, whenever I hear Kool and the Gang, whenever I hear We Are Family, things that I fucking just make me think of him. Yeah. And I would always tell him when he was at my house, brother, I miss Roland, my friend, but I sure as hell don't miss fucking Roland, the businessman from APW.
Wow.
And, and he laughed and he knew and he said, I'm sorry, and I gave him footage and he didn't even give a fuck about the footage. He just wanted to fuck with Jason. Those were his exact words, which I know he did care about the footage, you know what I mean? And it sucked, but I'm at least glad I was able to sit down with them on my couch and shoot the shit and I called him out on not being the Rock's babysitter and it was so fucking funny, man. He sat there and I called him on it and it was just seeing Roland all over again, lying. It was fun.
Yeah.
Because, but I left for the right reasons because it meant that I had to move on. But all it meant, it gave somebody else an opportunity. The same way when Markus and Donovan, all those guys left for PWI, it opened the opportunity for myself and then Jason. And then we did our thing. I moved on. That opened the opportunity for the next person and next person. And now, you got Markus who runs APW. And like when he said he runs a legit is because he's actual LLC and he ran with he went ahead and did things right.
Right there, and right there is what you said is a great segue because, you said yourself you was finally fed up, and honestly, if you hadn't have done what you did, Pro Wrestling Revolution probably wouldn't even got off the ground, and shit. Selfishly, the King Fat Boy Papa Wesco wouldn't be who he is today. But the segue that I was talking about is exit Gabriel Ramirez, enter Markus Smack. How did you, Markus, come to get into a position to take over APW and make it to what it is today?
See, and listening to all that's pretty deep shit, man. You know what I'm saying? It's very deep. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of validity to a lot of it. Gabe was putting in all the work over there, man, and Gabe and Jason, and Roland was very content with doing shows in just a small garage. He wasn't, his prime concern was that boot camp. You know what I'm saying? And making bread off that boot camp. Gabe, partnering up with Billy Blade and doing those shows in Bakersfield and Santa Maria, and Jason doing the shows in Kezar and San Francisco. I believe that they, that's where, they started seeing this as, well, shit, we can start making legitimate money. We can make a living off of this, I remember that when, what he was talking about when he gave the speech and walked out, and it was in the beginning though, you know what I'm saying? It was still love there, man. But the love, between Revolution, I remember like the first Revolution shows, going and ring announcing those, and then I remember what Roland really, what he felt really pissed off about at the time was him saying something that his boot camp wasn't being advertised in the local program. Now, Gabe wasn't doing nothing, but he was putting over fucking the sponsors and the matches. You know what I'm saying? To go on to what you were really talking about, man, is before me was John LaRocca. John LaRocca was the next in the pecking line. All I was trying to do was I remember that night when he said that Roland going hard and saying I'd been the ring announcer for APW for about a year, and then Lil had taken over. Lil was a student, and she had taken over as the ring announcer. Meanwhile, I'd just gotten booked for an overseas tour, and I wanted to get booked over overseas tour as a ring announcer, and I wanted to brush up on my announcing shit and told Roland he was juiced for me. And he said, hey, look, check it. We're going to, I'm going to get you on that, I'm going to get you back on the show as a ring announcer and off this commentary shit, start doing that. And, there was the big fallout, man. Like Gabe, said, John the Rocket took over and Roland, that's where the good role, I think Roland, started seeing like, hey, well, shit, he changed after that. You know what I'm saying? He did change. There was a lot less stress and maybe he wasn't as blessed, you know what I'm saying, as having everybody else. He realized that he needed to put a new team together. It was like he was a coach, you know what I'm saying? He was trying to establish a new, a whole new position of people. He was losing a lot of his, key guys, Cafu and Ollie stuck it out, but Cafu, Derek Sanders and different guys, they were all starting to not, so enter John LaRocca and his regime, and he put together an all-star squad. And LaRocca, to his credit, man, LaRocca really, and to MPT's credit as well, Zach, those guys, they opened the door. Everybody else, prior to this was considered backyarders. You know what I'm saying? It was APW versus the world. Nobody else was worth a shit. Nobody's been trained the APW style. That's how we were all taught. And then, then we got to see guys like Adam Thornstowe and Malachi and, these guys who were coming out of up north, Uglies guys, pretty much. You know what I'm saying? Guys, these whole, and that little melting pot, that was such a good little time right there when we had all of these guys coming in and those boundaries started breaking down, and it really that's when Roland, God, man, he would never pay any attention to anything else that was going on prior to this. It was just APW versus the world. Well, then Roland, he got real humble and he started going around and making amends with everybody and going and checking out everybody's show. It was SPW or Devil Mountain Wrestling or, Fog City or whatever it was, making the road trips with us down to Vendetta Pro. And, it just really started to change things right there. I think Roland really...
But why though? But why do you want to start mending fences? Like, you guys were there during that time. I would love to know what made him want to mend fences, because he never mended them with me or Jason. When the website went down for APW, everyone, their mother was calling me and Jason saying that we took it down. I remember you even called me and asked me, "Hey, bro, we're good, right?" I said, "Yeah, I trust you, blah, blah. Do you have anything with the website?" I said, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "Can you check it?" I went on the website and it was down. I said, "No, bro, I don't do anything with the website. That has to do all with Jason Dadrich, blah, 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 blah." Well, before that even happened, I had Jody and everyone, their mother, saying that big fat fuck and that one other guy are the ones, the anti-APW. The thing that Roland was really good at, bro, is Roland always found a way to make it us versus them. And that's how Roland survived this whole entire time. When there was nobody else, it was us versus, the world, because we're on an island. And then when BTW was around, it was us versus them. And then when somebody else broke out, it was us versus them. He had a great way of being a fucking spin. He'd spin our shit, and then us versus them.
I couldn't tell you what happened. I think that Roland fell back in love with wrestling. He saw guys like Timothy Thatcher and Oliver John and Malachi, who he was fucking huge on, and, Dalton Frost, and guys who weren't his guys, you know what I'm saying, but were absolutely phenomenal guys. Then, John LaRocca, when, the shit went south there with LaRocca, and they needed, Roland called me out of the blue, and I didn't want to book, you know what I'm saying? That wasn't what I wanted to do at all. But he said, he told me straight up. He said, "Look, I need you right now." He said, I don't want this to go to Larry Harvey. He said, I'd like you to take this thing over, because, you have a much closer relationship with all the top talent here in Northern California, because I don't believe Larry had that. Larry had his circle of guys, you know what I'm saying? And Roland knew that, you know what I'm saying? But
but the fucked up part, though, Larry had been there a long time, though. Larry had been there for a long fucking time and didn't give him a shot. And that was Roland's problem. Why would he not give Larry a shot? I mean, God forbid anyone find out that he was trying to sell half the company to Larry's dad. And then that's why Larry was around. And yet, when the dad ran out of money, he didn't buy it. Now
I
Larry's
think
a
what
piece of
happened,
shit
what
again.
really,
That's rolling for you.
that was, that
That's
might have
rolling
been
for
something
you.
to do with it, because then Larry and his dad did what really did it. I think what put the nail in that coffin with Larry was when Larry and his dad tried to start their own promotion and
That one
failed
show.
absolutely miserably. It was horrible. It was one of the worst
Oh
things,
man,
one
that
of the worst
sucked.
draws I'd ever seen as a performer. Straight up, But that's what happens when you go into a town that you have you don't know nothing about. Larry was living in Hayward, his dad was living in
Yeah.
Oroville, and they went and ran in Vacaville or something. They wanted to meet in the middle somewhere, but you can't meet in the middle without having. And wrestling was dead at the time. There wasn't. This was pre indie wrestling
Yeah.
boom. So
Yeah.
I think that's what nailed it right there with him. And God, man, I'm the last thing I want to do is put myself over, but fuck, I had hustle. I was, I'm a hustler from the streets. You know what I'm saying? I think Roland,
We'll
Roland
talk
seen
about it,
some of
brother.
that shit in me. Like that. Hey, look, this motherfucker is.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He could, I could be grimy, you know what I'm saying? But I never used it that way, because I worked for every promoter from here to Vegas to, you know what I'm saying, to overseas. I've worked with everybody, and I studied everything, like what worked, what didn't work, calculated moves. I took notes on everything, and what works, what doesn't work, how to treat people, how not to treat people, and then then they're right there at the end, man, we were fucking killing it. Just repeat with Gabe, though. You know what I'm saying? It was me then, I knew that, we had to do more to get these fucking houses up. You know what I'm saying? To get more attention onto APW.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Then I came out of pocket, and that's where I started bringing in the Michael Elgins, the Drake Youngers, the fucking Matt Hardys, the Spanky, all these guys, Rich Swan, all these guys, they became, they were all on my tab to bring into the garage, but, Roland really, man, I love Roland so much, man. I can't speak bad on him, because I never had that where he would call me and cuss me out. Never once. He never called me and cussed me out. Never one time.
What would you do if you did?
I smell it.
Put yourself in my shoes.
But that shit
what
wouldn't
would
flew
you
with me.
do?
I'd have fucked around and beat his ass. You know what I'm saying? I love him, but that's what would have happened. And Roland's probably, that's just real. That's a relationship that we had, though.
No,
I treated him with ultimate
funny,
respect.
Marcus, that you say that
he
you
got it
had
back
that
for me.
street
You know what
hustle.
I'm saying? We treated each other with absolute mutual respect and love, and that was my relationship with him. And then there at the end,
I mean,
God, dude, like I still remember, right there at those last few shows, and his legs, that diabetes had taken over, and his legs were just rotting away, and you could smell it. And I remember even Adam Thornstow, who works in healthcare and in the medical field, like we look at each other and we'd say, hey, look, it smells like death, dude. Like he doesn't, and Roland confided in me, like, hey, listen, there's look, I don't have much longer. And I told him, I never wanted to have anything to do with the school. That's why I never touched his school. I don't have no right or reason to touch his school. Roland asked me, hey, when I died, I just don't want this thing to die with me, Here, he's like, how can, but nobody wanted to touch anything, man, because of Roland's crazy ass debt. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it wasn't cheap, you know what I'm saying, to get this shit started, but Roland smartened me up on a couple of things. He said, hey, listen, All Pro Wrestling.
Don't pay that guy. Don't pay that guy. And don't pay that guy.
He told me, check it. All Pro Wrestling. Look, I'm going to tell you something that I've never told anybody. All Pro Wrestling does not exist. It doesn't. It never existed.
No, it never did. It was a DBA.
Existed.
It was a DBA.
Said, listen, what does exist is Pacific Coast Sports. Now, All Pro Wrestling may be too generic of a title.
Yep.
But if anything happens to me, he said, and you likely will get turned down. If anything happens to me, you apply for that LLC. You apply for, All Pro Wrestling as an LLC, and see if you get it. If you get it, cool. If you don't, you don't. But don't let it die with me. Whatever you decide to do, continue to run APW for me. I really appreciate. The night he died, I applied and it got fucking approved. But then it costed a few G's. You know what I'm saying? But it was, and then I was like, okay, well, cool. Now I got this APW thing. I've created the Facebook and the Instagram and all that shit. So that was all fucking my intellectual property, man. I'd started it all. So it was like, hey, shit, man. Now, okay, cool. Now let's try this. I'm gonna give it my all. I'm gonna try to put everything I can into this first show. But where the fuck do I find a first show when I've called every venue in San Francisco, Daly City, everywhere? I cannot get nobody to let you run. Nobody. Luckily, my wife worked for the Bayshore School District. You know what I'm saying? And the Boys and Girls Club there opened up. They gave us an opportunity in the home, and that's why we continue to go back there and give back, to that building, even though it's not as big of a building. It's very and it's inconvenience at times, parking wise and stuff like that. People say, oh, why don't you do the Westlake, more? Man, I give back to the Bayshore because they gave us the first opportunity, dude, when nobody else ever would, man.
There you go.
God, fuck, dude.
Yeah.
Without that, just as important of a piece of any of this, man, is that Bayshore Center, man. Without them, APW would have died with Roland, straight up, and I would have just lost thousands of dollars on fucking creating a fucking business that never ran.
Yeah, I hear that, man. I mean, shit. I'm flabbergasted by these stories, man. I feel like I'm just sitting under a learning tree right now. There was a hotbed in the 90s. APW was big and thriving. And then here we go. Just before we went into this coronavirus, I feel like we was on an upward curve and we was doing a lot of good things. How do we get that back? Matter of fact, here's another question that I can ask y'all. When this thing is all over and we get back to the normal life, we are able to do shows and we're able to do that. What can we do? How can we turn up the volume on this area? I mean, you got Pro Wrestling Revolution, you got All Pro Wrestling, you got Hood Slam, you got up and coming like West Coast Pro or Pro Wrestling Alliance, all these other. I mean, how do you bring some of the bigger promotions to the table and say, okay, we're going to take these promotions and kind of consolidate and merge the promotions? And
it will never happen.
Shows.
It will never happen.
That's what I was getting to. I want to know why.
I wanted to make sure you weren't going a different direction. It will never, ever happen.
Why?
Never. Because it's obvious. It goes back to the same thing. Everybody wants to be their own boss. Everybody wants to have a show with no fans, just like WWE, because it's my company. Because there's no such thing as these fucking companies. They just put up a fucking flyer and poster. There's too many egos because not everybody runs shows like, and I'm speaking for me and I speak for Markus because Markus and I talk all the fucking time. No one really, and I'm not even talking for Hood Slam because they got their shit and they're doing fucking great. But not everyone runs shows as a professional environment, company, insurance, blah, 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 to do a show. I don't run shows. I love Lucha and I'm a Lucha company, but in the fucking end, I'm a promoter and I've drawn money on the American side and I've drawn money on the Lucha side. I've made money on both ends, but I promote for the town, I promote for the city, and I promote for what I want to see. Promoters nowadays are not really promoters. They're just booking who they want to see. And they're booking it in a venue that holds 100 people. Well, what makes that a real promoter? If you're a promoter who draws 100 people, how the fuck can you put the label promoter on yourself? How can the fuck?
They're buying friends.
Goddamn right.
You know what I'm saying?
Goddamn right. Oh, yeah, man, we sold out. Oh, fuck, what's the capacity? 100? 100? That's your fucking sellout? In that fucking case, I sold the APW garage out every fucking 2 weeks. Me and Don King go side by side as promoters. Fuck that. It won't happen. And all respect to everybody else, man. Everyone has the right to do whatever they want to do. But if egos were aside and we did something together, the problem is that nobody wants to let somebody else drive. Everybody wants that fucking steering wheel. You know what I mean? I've been doing this in this area nonstop for 24 fucking years. Name somebody else who's done that non-fucking stop.
It's not gonna happen, man. But you know what? I'm gonna tell you straight up. On the
Not
other
going to
side of the
happen.
coin, I have fucking talked to everybody that's tried to run a fucking show out here and said, "Hey, dude, look, why don't we just do this shit together?" I'm not fucking afraid of your motherfucking. I'm not here to fucking try to take your gate. You know what I'm saying? But look, this is what I think would make this place great. I would work with everybody. Look, I work with fucking Gabe every fucking year on this King of Indies thing. You know what I'm saying? There's no motherfucking problems right there. You know what I'm saying? I'll work with fucking West Coast. I'll work with Gold Rush. I'll work with Kirk White. I'll work with fucking Hood Slam. I'll work with fucking anybody. I really don't give a shit as long as it means bettering this fucking makes money and means bettering this fucking area. If I'm not worried about somebody else's gate. You know what I'm saying? As long as we get this motherfucking shit popping, because that's the only way that it'll ever work. But motherfuckers, you know, they get a small taste and they're afraid to fucking to give up. Look, if goddamn who's a fucking up and coming company, you know what I'm saying? If Cody calls me and says, "Hey man, you know, fucking I want to run fucking shows all through here," you know what I'm saying? We're going to use fucking the APW ring, APW lights, APW fucking talent. But we want to call it AEW. Guess what? Fucking, let's fucking put a circle on that fucking, or let's erase that fucking P and put a E there, bro. I don't give a shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm going off brand recognition. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's the same thing with New Japan and us. You know, New Japan said, "Hey, man, we need you to do X, Y, and Z. We need all these guys. We need all that, but your guys can't be on the show. Let's do it." Where am I supposed to go? It's not a fucking ego thing, but I mean, let's be real. Okay, I get you. All right, so let's go back to. All right, we're gonna fucking do a show. All right, cool. Who am I gonna do a show with? All right, cool. Markus, we good? Yeah, we good. Because I know what Markus brings to the table. He knows what I bring to the table. Cool. All right, who else can we fucking bring in this motherfucker? Okay, who else does shows? Okay, that guy can do. But not everyone who's doing shows can bring something to the table. So if those guys don't bring into the fucking table, does now that mean that they're going to be part of the show? Like, how does that make sense? There's local promoters and there's promoters. If you're going to be the guy passing out flyers and getting some shit done while we fucking steer the ship, yeah, it can happen. But those guys don't want to do that. Those guys want to fucking stay. They want to be the big fucking fish in a small piss pond. That's what they want. And that's what's wrong when we were doing Gym Wars. We got so fucking into our own heads that Gym Wars was fucking awesome. Motherfuckers, we weren't making a goddamn penny. We were losing money. We weren't fucking making no fucking money. We were losing it. But the moment that we realized that we can do bigger shit by working at it and getting out of that little zone, that's when we realized, oh, fuck. And this motherfucker's making money off us. Well, cool. When we do King of Indies, I shit you not. Everything up until the booking is what's taking us the longest. Not because we don't agree on talent. All right, Markus, we got 8 guys, right? You got 4, I got 4. Cool. I want this guy. Yeah, I'm cool. That guy, I don't like him because of this reason. Cool. Right. Done. That's it. Fucking and we don't go, that's who I like. We go, this guy will be a good draw here because he hasn't worked here in 37 years. Let's bring him back. This guy's hot right now. What do you think? Yeah, that's cool. We're not booking who we want to see. We're booking what's good for the product, what's good for the look of King of Indies. We book in a way that it makes sense for us to make money into the day. Now, up and coming companies, well, let's make sure they last longer than a cup of tea before we start calling them companies.
I don't know, man. Selfishly, and maybe it's just the 8-year-old in me, but I hope that one day we can do some type of super card, where APW and Revolution, Pro Wrestling Revolution, Hood Slammer, whoever is all going to come together for just one super card where we can just bring the fans something that's going to be monumental to this area.
Okay. Why do we need other promotions to have a quote unquote super card? Who holds these wrestlers, for having a super card? Yeah. So okay, Markus, I want you to put on a super card, but you have to do it without me.
Cow Palace. You know what I'm saying? There you go. How many people
There you go.
And when that happened, you know what I'm saying? Everybody, sure, that's when people were reaching out and hey, we could work together on this one. No, fuck that. I'm sorry, dude. I just fucking threw down 30 G's on a fucking building. No, you know what I'm saying? This is gonna be fucking APW. You know what I'm saying? Selfish. Maybe I'm going against everything that I was saying, but fuck that. I threw down all the cheese on it. You know what I'm saying?
Well, no, it's not being selfish. You're being fucking true to your hard work. You
went
put
into
yourself
it just
in that
praying to
spot.
Jesus every day that, we'll break even. Thank God we fucking killed it. You know what I'm saying?
There's no such thing as a super card for others to be needed. There's no, I mean, yeah, Revolution, I have trademarks and a bunch of names. Those guys are not going to fucking take away from what Markus already did. He was not going to draw more or less if he didn't have certain talent on the show. But now, what can make the difference of making Markus' show at the Cow Palace bigger is if him and I were working together, is I would have brought my fan base with me. And that draw goes bigger. If he draws 3,000, now I bring my folks. Now we draw 5,000. Does that mean that I'm better? No, it means that together we're stronger. Instead of being super cards, it's being super promoters by working together. That means we make more money, and that means he makes money and I make money. That promoter wants to be a part of it. All right, dude, here's these tickets. Sell those motherfucking things. Then maybe instead of having a super card, we have promoters who want to fucking promote, but to work at it, not just fucking sell 10. I'm talking about sell fucking tickets, man. Like sell real fucking tickets, not being happy with a fucking salad of 100 fucking people. Fuck that. If I drew 100 fucking people at my shows, I would have to go see a fucking therapist. I would be fucking fucked up. I'd be at a therapist talking like, dude, what the fuck happened, man? I did this and I drew 100 people. I need help. I need pills.
Yeah.
Now, for those, obviously, some of you don't know, is that Markus and I have been talking since the first King of Indies of doing the Cow Palace together. We've been talking about it. But waiting for the right time, waiting for the right fucking climate. And then you got New Japan who came in like, oh, fuck, we can't do it no more because they just fucking drain the area and we can't come out after. I mean, we have to find the right time.
Okay, go ahead.
So we have to make sure that, it makes sense. Now, as much as Cow Palace is his dream, my dream is to San Jose Civic. And believe it or not, the fucking Civic is more expensive than the Cow Palace. You know what I mean? And it's fucking insane. It's absolutely fucking insane. But Markus and I want to do the Cow Palace together, but again, we actually talked about doing a King of Indies at the Cow Palace and doing a 16-man big fucking show. Doing like Markus wants. Markus wants a guy, one from fucking Australia, one from Mexico, one from Japan, one fuck here to there. We wanted to do this huge show, and someday we will, But now with this bullshit now, who the fuck knows? But it doesn't mean that our dreams and aspirations for that big fucking gate not going to happen. It just means that we're going to have to fucking wait a lot longer. But once we're ready to go, man, and once we're ready to play all over again, and slowly build back our areas and slowly, wait for the economy to turn and all that shit, it'll come back. Wrestling's always had its ups and downs, man. ECW and shit, 96, 97 fucking took us for a huge ride. Then it fucking died. And then all of a sudden, boom, the indie scene got popping. And the indie scene's what fucking saved bigger promotions. The indie scene's what fucking generated AEW. You know what I mean? It's a roller coaster, right? And it'll be up and down, and eventually we'll get back there. And I plan on being here for as long as I fucking can. And I see Markus in the same way. I don't see him going anywhere.
We're lifers, you know what I'm saying? This is our fucking hop. You know what I'm saying? We need this shit, man, and we need this shit to continue to produce fucking, give people greater opportunities to get the fuck out of here and go on and keep on keeping wrestling alive. Period. WWE, AEW, you know what I'm saying? Look at everybody on TV now. Jesus, you know what I'm saying? How many of them have come through fucking either Revolution or APW and been regulars, and now are on top of the game. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That indie wrestling boom, it was, I feel like, it was starting to, I watched it, it got bigger and bigger and bigger, and it was on the verge of already, that bubble was pretty much about to pop. You know what I'm saying? Maybe, maybe this was needed. You know, I think that when one of two things is going to happen when we come back, either wrestling is going to be fucking hot as shit, or it's going to be cold as fucking a hooker's heart. You know what I'm saying? It's going one way or the other.
No in between.
You know?
Got it. Yeah.
A hooker's heart, man. What kind of hookers have you met? Papa, tell him.
I met some pretty cold-hearted hookers.
Yeah, Papa, tell him about the nice fucking warm-hearted hookers, you know.
I might know a few. Well, that's another story, though.
Now, do you
but
do we have more questions, or was that all of them?
Man, you know what? We touched on everything. Now, I might have asked only a couple of questions, but everything bled into the next. I think the questions that were asked were a great transition. You know what? I think right now we're out of time. So, Markus Smack, I definitely thank you for coming on, brother. You definitely are a solid dude. Right now, I'm going to give you the opportunity to go ahead and shout out your social media.
It's All Pro Wrestling
go
on
ahead.
Everything. You know, All Pro Wrestling. Follow it on everything, and just, you know, and look on there and try to find out, you know, try to support some of these guys. You know, there ain't really shit out there, you know, unless you want to, you know, share and fucking some of our shit. But, you know, there ain't no content going out. Go out of your way to fucking support the fucking boys. That's all I ask. Wrestlers like Will Hobbs, wrestlers like JR Kratos, Papa Wesco, fucking Levi Shapiro, the Reno Scum, all these guys that are, you know, that are the true heart and soul of APW, you know what I'm saying? Dave Dutra and everybody, top to the fucking bottom, you know, go out of your way to support those guys and go on their pro wrestling tees and support them by buying their shirt or do anything you can to support them. That's really how I would like to, that's really what I want to put over, is just the talent.
That's what's up. That's what's up. I definitely appreciate that. And Gabe Ramirez, owner and operator of Pro Wrestling Revolution, go ahead and shout out your social medias, please, sir.
Yes, sir. PW Revolution on everything as well. You know, all I can say, man, is but to the fans is fans, the boys, everybody, man, just be patient. And just speaking, not for myself, but just overall for this era, just be patient. Wait. And let's see what we can do when we're out. We're let to out and go play again. Meanwhile, man, just stay home. Be safe, man. Don't try to fucking go against the grind. Don't try to be this fucking conspiracy theories that this shit was made by. No, man, no matter why it was made or how it was made, this shit's here and it's taking fucking lives. Let's take the shit serious. Let's stay home. Let's save lives. And while you're at home, man, yeah, it's like Markus said, man, hit up fucking, the boys, hit up fucking promotions. I'm giving away fucking footage nonstop just so you guys can watch it, whether you hate it, whether you love it, whether you want to talk shit about it, whatever it is. If I'm taking your mind off from fucking this fucked up shit going on in this world for 20 minutes, hey, job well done. And just support, man. Be smart, and just wait, because when the time comes, we'll get the ball rolling. We're as eager as you are. Trust me, if maybe even more. So hang tight, be with us, and be safe so you're still around with us when we get the shit rolling again. And we're ready when the world lets us go play again.
Well, I want to say one more thing.
Absolutely, absolutely. Way to put a stamp on it.
Take this second to just really acknowledge all of the talents out there, man. And I know a lot of them are gonna probably end up hearing this, man. And you guys are the most. You know what I'm saying? You guys are absolutely the most. And I know you guys are dying to get back. And like Gabe said, we want to get you back. And I love the fans. You know what I'm saying? I do. I really, really do. Thank everybody who's ever bought a ticket or ever supported. But those guys, man, all of you guys, if you have ever fucking taken a bump on fucking my canvas, then, man, thank you. And just be patient. Don't fucking get lazy. I'm sure when we come back, there's going to be a whole lot of fucking ring rust out there, man. You know what I'm saying? You can't get in there and bump around, but just, try to take care of yourselves, during these times. You can't hit the gym. Find other ways, to take care of yourselves and take care of each other. Take this minute to go out and shoot fucking somebody random in our circle, in our locker room, somebody that you might not fucking take this time to get to know each other better. You know what I'm saying? If you need somebody to talk to, we're all going batshit crazy, man. Take this time to go out and really try to fucking and fix your friendships between everybody around these different companies. You know what I'm saying? Not just the ones who fucking think they can get you better.
Fuck
You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? Or who can fucking politically better stroke you. But get to know each other a little bit better and get to love one another. You know what I'm saying? Because when we get on the other end of this motherfucker, we are going to be fucking all hands on deck, and we're going to burn this motherfucker down like no other.
And on that note, we are done. Marcus Mack, thank you for coming on. Straight out of the bodega, Gabriel Ramirez. We here next week. We're going to do it all again. So everybody take care, stay safe, social distancing. We'll talk to y'all later, right? And that is all she wrote. Man, Marcus Mack, Gabriel Ramirez. It was a good show, good conversation. I learned a lot, and I hope you did too. Tune in next week where we have NXT/WWE referee and NorCal legend Tom Castor on the show. We're going to have a great conversation, a lot of fun stories. I can't wait. Before we go, I want you to check out all our social medias. On Instagram, that's Straight Out of the Bodega. On Facebook, that's Straight Out of the Bodega. Twitter, at STR8OUTDABODEGA. Also check out my social medias. Instagram, we got Papo Esco. Facebook, we got Papo Esco. Twitter, we got Papo_Esco. Check me out. So on behalf of the podcast, Straight Out of the Bodega, I'm your master of ceremonies, the King Fat Boy Papo Esco. We out.
Ever had a dream of becoming a pro wrestler? Or maybe your dream is becoming a pro wrestling manager, referee, ring announcer, or commentator. If you're ready to turn your dream into reality, then Pro Wrestling Revolution Training Academy is for you. Northern California's premier pro wrestling training academy. Pro Wrestling Revolution Training Academy is located in San Jose, California, and with over 24 years of experience, we specialize in all areas, from lucha libre, American style, ring psychology, industry etiquette, and much more. You'll be welcomed into a family environment where our head trainer, Hall of Famer, the Brown Bomber, Robert Thompson, and our training staff will start you on your journey and fully prepare you to get in the ring and make your dream a reality. Past trainees include AEW's Jungle Boy, UFC World Champion and WWE star Cain Velasquez, the King Fat Boy Papo Esco, and many more. Be the next star. Contact Pro Wrestling Revolution Academy now. Call 408-728-8318. Visit our Facebook page or go to prowrestling-revolution.com/training and make your dream a reality.